coming to the next question, question number 19. Study the following velocity time graph in column 1 and carefully and select the correct option from the given codes. Assume that motion takes place in the time interval 0 to t. So here we can see that t is 0 to t, right? So for p, we can see that the graph shows that it is the net displacement is negative. Displacement is negative, but not 0, right? So, and the acceleration is positive. So p will be 2 and 4. Let's understand q. So for q, we can see that the net displacement is positive. Again, the net displacement is positive, but it is not 0. And the acceleration is also positive. So q will be 1 and 4. For r, we can see that the particles return to its original position as the area under the curve representing net displacement is 0. Okay, so here r will be 3. And the last one is in S, the net displacement is positive but not 0. So S will be 1. So our correct answer is option number A. Question 20. A prism PQR with base PQ is placed at different orientation. A narrow beam of white light is incident on the prism as shown in the given figure. In which of the following cases, after passing through the prism, the third color from the top corresponds to the color of the sky? So we all know that when the white light passes through the prism, the white light gets scattered into the component colors. So as the rainbow color is obtained in the form of VIBGYOR from the lower to high. So when the prism is inverted, then the third color will be blue. Okay, when it is inverted, that is the color of the sky. So our correct answer should be option number 2. Okay, and B is our correct answer. Question number 21. A solid substance is placed in a boiling tube and heated steadily. The temperature time graph of the substance is as shown in the given figure, the point at which there will be a mixture of solid substance and liquid. So in this temperature time graph, we can see that the point P here is representing the heating of the solid substance, while Q is representing the transition from solid to liquid state. And as the heat is added, then the change of state is taking place. Similarly, at point R, we can see that it represents the heating of the liquid state, whereas at point S, we can see that the transition from the liquid to the gaseous state. So our question is that which point will be a mixture of solid substance and liquid? So our correct answer should be the option C, Q. Q is the point where there is a transition from the solid to liquid state as we increase the temperature. Question number 22. The velocity time graph of a particle moving on a straight line is depicted in the given figure. Which of the following statement is or are correct? So let's see. So here, as the direction of the velocity is changing, okay, this is the velocity and the direction of the velocity is changing in the velocity time graph, it depicts that the particle has turned around, right? And from this graph, we can see that the area under VT graph is non-zero. So here, thus, the displacement of the particle is non-zero, right? As the ratio of area under VT curve and the time interval is same from 0 to 10 and 10 to 20, the average speed is same in both the interval. So our correct answer is option number B. The particle has zero displacement. Question number 23. The water heater of a shower is connected through circuit breaker. The purpose of the circuit breaker. So we all know that the circuit breaker is the protective thing for our electric gadgets. The circuit breaker is generally used to cut off the current in case of short circuit. Hence, the appliance that we are using, the appliance is protected. So our correct answer is option number C, to cut off the current when there is a short circuit. Question number 24. A pendulum X makes 30 complete oscillations in 15 seconds. If another pendulum Y makes 19 complete oscillations in 9 seconds, then select the incorrect statement, right? So here we can see, the first statement is the swing of pendulum Y is longer than the pendulum X. The angle of swing of release of pendulum changes its time period. 3 says pendulum Y has a shorter period than pendulum X. And 4 says the higher mass of the bob of pendulum correspond to its lower time period, right? So let us first understand the time period of the pendulum. So first, the time period of pendulum X, I'll just write Tx here, is it is doing in 15 seconds, it is doing 30 oscillations. So it is taking 0.5 seconds to complete one oscillation. And for Y, time period for Y, it is taking 9 seconds to complete 19 oscillations. So it should be 0.47 seconds. Okay. So we all know that the time period T is equal to 2 pi root over L by G. That is the length of the period of the pendulum. This is the length of the bob and this is gravity, right? So here the time period of the pendulum is not affected with the mass of the pendulum and the angle of the swing, right? So here the first statement is correct. The string of the pendulum Y is longer than the pendulum X. This is incorrect. The angle of swing to release the pendulum changes its time period. This is also incorrect. Pendulum Y has a shorter time period than pendulum X. This is correct because it is 0.47 and this is 5. So this is a correct statement. The higher mass of the bob of the pendulum correspond to its lower time period. This is also a wrong statement. So the incorrect statements are 1, 2 and 4. And D is our correct answer. Question number 25. A glass container having inner depth of 28 centimeter is kept on a table. A student starts pouring water, mu equal to 4 by 3 into 8 while looking on the surface of the water from the above. When he feels that the container is equally filled and equally empty, he stops pouring water. Up to what height the container is actually filled? So here if we take the example, so suppose this is the container and the student is pouring the water till here. It is said that half of the container is filled and half of the container is empty. And the inner depth of the container is 28. So if this is the height, x is the height of the water, so the height of the container that is empty will be 28 minus x, right? So if we consider the total height of the filled container is x, then the inner container, the height of the empty part is 28 minus x. So for the student, x by mu is equal to 28 minus x, right? Divided by, what is mu? 3 by 4. Correct. So this will be coming in 16 meter. So our correct answer is option number A. Question number 26. Read the given statements carefully and select the correct option. The first statement says petrol condenses near the top of the fractionating column as compared to diesel oil, and statement 2 says petrol is more volatile than diesel oil. So we all know that the fractional distillation of the crude petrol is carried out in the fractionating tower. So during this process, what happens? The crude oil is heated to around 400 degrees centigrade. So when the crude oil is heated to 400 degrees centigrade, the fractions with lower boiling point rises up to the tower and condenses at different level in decreasing order of their boiling point. So petrol condenses near the top as it has lower boiling point and thus it is more volatile than the diesel oil. So here option A is correct. that both the statements are true and they are individual statements. The second statement does not, uh, uh, and the second statement is the reason why the petrol condenses at the top, right? So both statements 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. A is the correct answer. Question number 27. A brief description about four substances X, Y, W, X, Y, and Z is given. Used to treat basic nature of the soil. So the basic nature of the soil will be done by any acidic thing, organic matters, right? Okay, let's see. Found in unripe mangoes. Unripe mangoes, it will be tartaric acid. Used to relieve indigestion. Indigestion will need some basic substance, and used to treat ant bites. It will be used for any calamine lotion, right? So let's understand this. The basic nature of the soil, it is treated by adding some organic matter to it. So W should be organic matter. So I think B is the correct answer. And the ripe tartaric acid is present in unripe mangoes. Milk of magnesia is a mild base, and it can be used to cure acidity or indigestion. And when any insect bites, so in that case, during the insect bite, it injects the acidic liquid, that is generally the formic acid, into our skin. So the effect of this acid can be neutralized by treating them with calamine solution that contains the zinc carbonate, that is basic in nature. So B is our correct answer, right? Question number 28. Match column 1 and 2 and select the correct option from the given codes. P, innermost zone of the flame. So if a candle burns, the innermost zone of a flame is where no combustion take place, right? So P will be 2. P will be 2. Next, rusting of iron. Rusting of iron is a slow combustion, right? So it takes a lot of time. So Q will be 4. Burning of LPG. Burning of LPG is always a rapid combustion. So it is 1. And non-luminous zone of the flame, it is the portion of complete combustion. So S will be 3. So our correct answer is option number B. Question number 29. Study the given Venn diagram carefully. The point 1 represents. So point 1, we can see that it is a chemical change and it forms oxides, right? So if we see sublimation of camphor, it is a physical change. So we will not take this as chemical change. So no. Then rusting of iron nail, it is a chemical change where oxide is formed. Yes, B can be correct. So let's see oxides of iron. So Fe plus O2 plus H2O, right? And thus it forms Fe2O3 and water. So this is the rust, right? So this is correct. Burning of magnesium ribbon, yes, magnesium ribbon Mg plus O2, it forms MgO. So this is also oxide. So this is also correct. So our correct answer is option number D. Both B and C are the correct statements. Question number 30. During refining of petroleum, various fractions are obtained. Some of these are listed below. Petrol, heavy oil, kerosene, diesel, petroleum gas. Arrange these fractions in decreasing order of their boiling point and select the correct option. So if we start with petrol, so petrol, the boiling point is around 40 to 75. For heavy oil, it is 350 to 500. For kerosene, it is 160 to 250 around. For diesel, it is 250 to 300. And for petroleum gas, it is below 40 degrees centigrade, right? So they've asked us to arrange this in decreasing order of their boiling point. So our correct answer should be first should be 2, then first 2, then 4, then 3, then 1, and the last one should be 5. So our correct answer is option number A. Question number 31. Miss Meena, our science teacher, demonstrate the effect of different indicators on the given solution. Select the incorrect statement from the following. China rose indicator turns green in test tube 3. So here we see that in test tube 1 it is lemon juice, in test tube 2 it is caustic soda, in test tube 3 it is table salt, and in test tube 4 it is sulfuric acid. Right? So the first statement, China rose indicator turns green test tube 3, this is incorrect. Why this is incorrect? Because test tube 3 is having table salt. Right? And in option 2, turmeric indicator turns red in test tube 2. This is correct. Phenolphthalein indicator turns pink in test tube 4. Sulfuric acid, this is incorrect again. And litmus solution turns red in test tube 1, lemon juice. This is correct. Why? Let's understand. Because lemon juice in test tube 1 and sulfuric acid in test tube 4, these are acidic solutions, right? That generally turns blue litmus red, and phenolphthalein remains colorless in this solution, right? So that's why 4 is correct and 3 is incorrect. On the other hand, this caustic soda 2, it is basic in nature, and thus the turmeric indicator turns red in color. So option 2 is correct. And the third one, the China rose, okay? So the China with 3, so table salt is a neutral solution. So China rose indicator, it does not turns green because table salt is neutral. So there will be no change in color. So option 1 is incorrect. So our correct answer is option number D. Question number 32. Which of the following statements are correct? Non-renewable resources are those which once used up cannot be replaced with a reasonable period of time. So this is correct because we have to be judicious about non-renewable resources. So this is a true statement. Coal and natural gas are inexhaustible natural resources. This is false. These are exhaustible natural resources. Coal is exhaustible. Natural gas is, yes, inexhaustible. CNG is more polluting than petrol. This is incorrect. This is false, right? And the higher temperature and the higher pressure inside the earth slowly converts the buried vegetation into coal. This is correct. So this is the reason why we are getting coal now, right? It is because of the high temperature and pressure inside the earth that has slowly converted the vegetation into coal that we are getting as a natural resource now. So the first statement and the fourth statement is correct. So our correct answer is option number D. Question 33. X is a kharif crop whereas Y is a rabi crop. Select the option that correctly identifies X and Y. A is cotton and mustard, B is groundnut and maize, C is pea and gram, and D is wheat and paddy. So among the given options, we can see that cotton, groundnut, maize, and paddy, these are the kharif crop. These are the kharif crop. I'll just write K here. Okay. While mustard, pea, gram, and wheat, these are the rabi crop, right? So our correct answer is option number A, that cotton is a kharif crop and Y, mustard, is a rabi crop. So A is the correct answer.